Hi, I'm Paul Germain. Welcome to another session of Smart Boating. As you know, if you've watched the show before, we cover a wide variety of topics from man overboard to marine insurance. And the general idea is to give you a little bit of information, help you make smarter decisions, and have more fun on the water. Every now and then we take a little side trip, and that's the case today, where we're going to dive into the world of model collectible boats. And joining me is Fred Clausen, an expert in that area. Welcome, Fred.
Thank you, Paul. Glad to be here. Thank you.
We got a really fun show today here on collectible model boats. Before we get into it, can you share just a little bit of your background in the field?
Sure. I've always been a collector. Started out with die-cast cars back probably in the late 60s, and got tired of that and decided I would get into model boats. So basically now I sell the toy cars on eBay and buy model boats. And the collection has grown, and we're here today with quite a few.
We get quite a few, yeah. I think people are going to enjoy it. Well, you know, you've got just the right background for this, so why don't we get right into it? You've got an interesting boat here on display. Can you tell us a little bit about it?
Sure. This video is primarily going to be on restorative boats, and this one in particular was done by a friend of mine, Jim, in Texas, and he actually built this as a kit, and it was so hard to do that he didn't ever want to do another one. This is made by the ITO company, and there's a non-operating Evinrude engine on the back, but Jim designed the scheme and made the stand, and it's about 10.5 inches, so it's a nice small boat, but a lot of work.
Oh, I bet it was. Yeah, right. Okay. It's got an interesting color scheme to it. You got the bright yellow and the green, the orange.
Yes, this was a Jim design boat. He loves the vast color schemes. It didn't look like this when it came out originally. It's 12 inches. It has a 1D cell battery that works in the middle, and he had to make the cabin for it. When I got it, it did not have a cabin, and he did all the design work on the size and the windows.
Wow. Yeah. Now, how would he know how to make the cabin? Would he have a picture of it someplace, or just go from his mind?
It's really from his mind. He looks at things visually and the colors, and it's whatever pops to him. He makes cardboard cutouts first and then tries it, and sometimes he'll send me a picture of the cardboard cutout. Wow. So together we figure it out.
Collaborate.
Yes.
Right. Cool.
This did not start out as a rocket boat. Jim added the fins on it.
That's funny.
It started out with just as a basic boat, and this one is 12.5 inches. It's his design as far as the fins, and that's one of my favorite things is to have boats with fins. So he built this one with me in mind, and he does a lot of work on the detail, and this one runs on 2 D-cell batteries.
Okay, so he built this from scratch.
No, he took a kit and remodeled it, but he added the fins.
It.
Yeah,
right,
he modified it.
He's even got some like brake lights here in the back of the fins.
Yeah,
and that's supposed to be the gear shift lever there?
The gear shift turns the engine on and off, and you have to set the propeller for the direction you want to go. But he cleans up all the stainless steel parts, and they look brand new. This boat looks better than when it was originally made,
really?
Back in the 50s.
Yeah, and he picks the colors to paint it and everything.
Yep.
Boy, really sharp.
Yeah, it's an old-fashioned design.
And this one, speaking of like rocket boats, this one kind of has a rocket-type feel to it.
This is another Jim special. Oh. He designed the sponsons on the side. It was just a normal boat, and he designed that because I had a G3 boat that had sponsons on the side back in the 50s, and he wanted to come up with something that was similar, and then he did the color scheme too. This also runs on 2 D-cell batteries and has a small horseshoe engine in it. So it was a beautiful job by Jim, again, cleaning all the parts.
It's got a lot of parts. Looks like he's got a couple horns, and I don't know what the thing in the center is.
It's a green light. Yes, yep.
Okay, he's got rails on it.
Air scoops.
Air cowlings. And
step plates.
Got the mandatory life preserver on the rear deck.
Yep.
Yep. That's a beauty.
Yeah, he did a great job.
Yes.
This was another purchase of mine that when it arrived, it had no cabin. So he had to design the cabin, and we went back and forth with a couple of different designs. Also, it's called the Cherry Boat, and probably may not be able to see it on the camera, but he did all the hand lettering himself.
Oh, on the life preserver.
On the life preserver. He only painted the cabin. He did not have to do anything on the deck, and it was his design too of how it goes together. It runs on 2 D-cell batteries, and it's I believe it has the horseshoe engine in it, but It's about 15 1/4 inches.
Looks like it's all wood.
It's all wood, totally all wood.
I don't. Was there a specific type of wood they would typically use for boat like this?
They've used different woods. This is a medium weight wood. I don't know different. They're all made in Japan, and they're different factories use different wood.
I see. And what's this thing in the top, like a radio antenna?
It's a radio antenna, and the lights are ornamental. They do not light up. The spotlight in the front does light up.
Oh, okay.
And does not have a flag on it for this one, but the shift lever in the back is the on and off switch.
I see that. Yeah, nice. Got this one here. This looks like it's got a dragon on it.
Yes. This is one of the many dragon boats that came from Japan. Jim only did the cabin on this. He didn't have to rebuild it. Excuse me, he did rebuild it. He didn't have to design it. It was in 4 pieces when it got here.
Oh.
He only painted that. He did not do anything on the Dragon at all. That was nice. It was in that good condition. We call it, on the life preserver, it says Toku Japan, and so we call it the Toku Cabin Cruiser.
Okay.
But you'll see later on that there are other Dragon boats. All these Dragons were painted at home by people over in Japan, back in the 50s.
Oh, hand painted?
Hand painted, and they're all slightly different as far as design.
And this one looks like it's got the engine under the rear hatch here. I see little tabs sticking up there. Is that how you turn the boat off?
That's the on and off switch, yes. And again, you set the rudder as far as what direction you hope it's going to go in. And it's got the horns and 2 spotlights in the front.
Yeah.
And it's 15 1/2 inches long.
That's a beauty. This is an interesting boat right here. It's got sponsons on it.
You got the sponsons on the side,
Yeah.
and back side also. And this was another one restored by Jim. It came with no cabin when I got it.
Okay.
So this was a little easier design on the cabin. It was kind of basic, but he built it out of the cardboard bottle first.
The cabin is the green top and the blue as well?
The blue, yes.
Yeah, I see.
Yep. It did a total repaint on it. It was horrible shape. And the seats and the motor on the back is a K&O, which is very popular, 1956 Johnson 30 horsepower Seahorse. And I got that from another restoring friend, Mark, which we're going to see some of his boats later, but that came from him back about 15 years ago.
Okay.
But this is one of the few outboards that I've had restored. Most have been inboards.
And this has a lot of hardware on, from the step pads to the horns to the
antenna,
radio
the rails,
antennas.
life preservers. Jim redid the life preserver too. He paints them all by hand.
Yeah.
So
a lot going on.
Yes.
Yes. Now this one is funny. It's got kind of like racing fins on it.
Yes, another Jim design. He's very creative in the design. He's very creative in the colors. He likes to accentuate the angles and the points. But this did not start out as a finned boat.
Oh, it didn't?
No, he made it again for me because of that. And then to have the octagonal, the rounded seat backrest there was his design too.
Oh, really?
It's 15 1/2 inches, and it runs on 4 D-cell batteries, so it has a lot of power. The big thing, again, is Jim's design. He is very, very creative.
Okay, and he's got, looks like a hood ornament or something on the front deck there.
Yeah, we call that a Buick ornament.
A Buick ornament.
Yep, because of the shape, and it's got the deck cover rail, and the horn, double horn, and then the red and the green spotlights in the front.
Got some fancy detail on that one.
Now
this one has got kind of an interesting transom from my angle.
Yes.
Like a tumble, I think they call that a tumble home transom.
Okay, I haven't heard that term before. I refer to it as the rounded back.
The rounded back.
But this one, Jim did no rebuilding. All he did was clean it up. It was a mess when it came in. All the parts had to be cleaned, and even the engine covers had to be refit. They were kind of broken off. But he didn't do any painting at all, and he shines up the wood, and it really looks great. It's 17 3/4 inches long. So as you can see in the show, we're moving up into the larger boats.
Right, that's a little bigger boat
Yes.
right there, yeah. It's
And it
interesting,
runs
the
on
mahogany decks there.
Yes.
Yeah, you don't see too many of that. That's kind of unusual, I think.
Yes, it's
usually they're painted.
Usually painted.
Like this one here, it's got mostly painted. It's got a little mahogany or a little bright work in the center.
Yeah. This one he did not do any painting on. He cleaned it up. It's 17 3/4 inches. It's the Sea Eagle runabout. Don't really know who made it, but the black paint really accentuates the chrome.
Oh,
and you can
yeah.
see the center of the steps is a little on the golder side. The silver
Okay.
plating has worn off.
Yeah.
But it has the Sea Eagle emblem on the side and the Sea Eagle on the life preserver, and that runs on 4 D-cell batteries. So again, it's quite a powerful boat.
Okay. I see the eagle graphic on the side.
Yes. Yep. That's very unusual. Some of them have the dragon. This is the only one that has the Sea Eagle.
Oh, it's a nice looking boat.
Thank you. Yes. This is also redone by Jim probably about 20 years ago. It is a Japanese dragon boat. This is what people think of when they think of a Japanese dragon boat.
Oh,
It's
okay.
18 inches. It says the bigger hand-painted logo on the side
Yes.
than the first one we saw a few minutes ago. It has a TMY engine in it, and it runs on 4 D-cell batteries. Jim's work has not deteriorated over the years. It just looks better and better, and the chrome has not discolored. It gets a little dusty sitting around because I don't have enough Q-tips to clean all the boats.
Right.
But he did another great job on that one.
That must move right along with the 4 D cells,
Yes.
right?
Yep.
Yeah, that's a nice one. This one's got some fins on it again.
This is a Jim Hagler special. Again, he took a boat that had no fins, and he added the fins for me. He made a few of them. This is a color design that was just for me.
Okay.
But he loves being creative, and he likes the bright colors. You can see the pink rails in the front, blue rails, and then the pink trim, and the maroon sides and top, and the pink bottom.
Okay, and I can see inside it's got a steering wheel and it's got a little, I don't know, it's like a speedometer type thing.
Yes. Yeah.
Got the gear shift. So you get a lot of detail on a boat like this too, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
And you see there should be 2 props in the back. I can't see them from here.
Oh, yeah.
So you can see
Dual
underneath dual engine. Well, single engine, but 2
Single
props.
engine with
Yeah.
2 props.
Yep.
That's unusual.
And it's a medium-sized engine. It's not a huge engine, but it runs on 4 D-cell batteries, so again, it will move along quite fast.
Really zips, yeah.
But this is the standard. When people think of the Japanese dragon boat, this is the standard. Except Jim added, I'm sorry, to forget the dragon boat. It was a dragon boat.
Was a dragon.
He added the lights on the side, got rid of the dragon boat logo that
Well,
was
that's
there.
too funny. So he did some interesting modifications to
Yes,
it.
made it very creative. Yeah.
Well, collectible model restoration has a lot of components to it, both
Yes.
labor and pieces, and you've got a box here that's part of that, right?
Yes. This is how the dealer sold the replacement parts for boats that were played with kids and broken. They're all K&O parts. You can see that some are still in the original bags, and there's some like the antenna. That's the hardest piece to find.
Oh, yeah.
And I've seen them go for $70, $80 on eBay. The large windshield probably is a $30 or $40 item. So that they're all very valuable parts.
This is key.
And
And just
definitely
like
needed.
larger boat restoration, the hardware is a big part of it.
Yes.
Same thing with model boats, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
And you as a little kid could come in and look at the pictures on the top here and see what you wanted and then buy them, and they cost you very 15, 20, 30, 40 cents back then. So
That's funny. Yeah, this is an interesting boat. I like the color of it. It's kind of a dark, it looks like almost like a dark green.
yes. Well, we've now switched to restorations by John Guest. He's in Arkansas.
Yeah.
And this is an ITO runabout. It's 12 inches long. And they didn't refer to them in Japan as runabouts. They called them runners.
Runners.
So you'll hear me mention the term runner. It has the ITO label inside, but you can't see it. But John did a total restoration on this. Here, I doubt you can see it as the green-topped engine, which is an ITO special engine right in the boat, so that identifies it. And most times on the prop on your side there, it'll have the initials ITO stamp. So
Really?
ITO boats are the best ones that are made for model boat collecting.
Oh, is that right?
Yes.
Yeah, yeah. This is a restoration.
This is a total restoration. Yep.
That's beautiful. There's a racing boat.
Yes, the G3. Not the same as the original G3 that I had as a kid in fiberglass, but this is a racing G3 boat. It's a total repaint. It's 13 inches. I don't know the manufacturer of it, but when John restored it, he restored it to the original colors, which are the orange stripes down the side and the maroon in the center. And I know he added the black water line on it. But That one has a lot of, he likes, and I do too, a lot of the ornamentation on it. You can see that these steps have green in the middle,
Yes.
as the others are all silver.
Yes, yes, yes. For a race boat, it's got a lot of ornamentation on it.
Yes, it's a classy looking boat. It's the old-fashioned kind.
It is. You even get the red hull paint, the
Yes.
traditional red. Yeah. Now this is a boat, we typically call this a torpedo stern on it, because it kind of looks like a torpedo.
Yes.
Makes it unusual in collectible boats, doesn't it?
This is probably one of the most expensive boats that I have purchased from John. He did the restoration on it many years ago. He calls it a double ender. Why he does, I don't know, but maybe that was the Japanese term for it.
Yeah.
I paid a lot of money for it. There's not a lot of them out there. I have never seen another one, but he wanted to add it to my collection, so we worked a deal out back in 2014, so I've had this for 8 years in the collection. And it's just back to the original colors. It has a fair amount of ornamentation, but he polished it up. I'm sure he did it around 2000, and it still looks great.
Yeah, it does, yeah. It's a lot of work to do a restoration,
Yes,
isn't it?
he puts a lot of time. Everybody puts a lot of time into it.
Now this one is a harbor patrol, and of course, every harbor usually has a patrol, so that's going to be a popular model.
Yes, I don't know who made it. There are a couple of variations out there of Harbor Patrol boats. This one is 15 3/4 inches long, and it was restored by John to the exact colors that it came out with in the beginning. And you can see it has the red hull and the blue.
Yeah.
And it has a special ornament on the front. We call it the airplane ornament, as compared to the other one had the Buick ornament.
Okay.
But it's
And he did a restoration on this, you say?
a total restoration
Total
of it. Yeah, he
restoration.
strips it down, strips all the paint off. He very seldom touches up boats. He prefers to do the whole restoration. And he puts on 3 or 4 coats of paint or varnish. And he also, like Jim, cleans all the parts so that they look perfectly brand new.
Wow, that's a beauty.
Thank you.
Now this is a traditional, looks like a traditional cabin cruiser.
Yes, this is made by a company called Rico, and John also did this for me. He had one himself, and he wanted to work. He knew I had one, so he said he would do it for me as a gift.
Wow.
And he made it, you probably can't see, but at the bottom it has Lake House, and it's for my business, the Lake House Cottages.
Oh, okay.
And he made his the exact same color, which are original colors, but of course he didn't put Lake House on it.
Right.
But as I said, it's made by Rico. It's a very unusual boat with a double cabin, a lot of ornamentation, and the
Yes.
antenna comes up.
Okay.
It's an unusual antenna also, and the blue hatch on the front. But an immaculate job on the restoration.
Now, did this have a motor in it too?
It does, yep. I'm not sure which motor's in it, but it's a 17-inch Rico, and that was probably the second or third most popular toy boat that was made back in the 50s.
Really? Yeah. Yeah, that's really nice. This one's got a unusual color scheme. Again, kind of a slate blue with the orange top and the yellow.
This was also done by John. This is an ITO. It's called the Miami L. Where it got that name, I don't know, but it's in the catalogs as Miami L. It's 15.5 inches. It is restored to the original colors. If you look closely, you can see a lot of the parts have gold showing through instead of the silver, like on the Buick ornament on the front. Some of the silver plating has totally come off, and there's brass underneath. And unless you want to have them re-silver plated, which is a big expense, I like the fact he mixes the brass and the silver together.
Okay.
But it's I've had this one just a few months. He just did this recently for me.
Okay.
But this, again, being an ITO, makes it a very special boat.
Right.
And I've got to push the cabin back a little bit. There, it looks a little bit better now.
It looks perfect.
A little more
now.
design.
Yep.
And all the boats have the marine flag, which usually sell on eBay somewhere about $20 a piece. Originally, they were probably 15 cents.
Right, right. So they're rare these
They're rare.
days.
Yep, very rare.
These collectible model boats had a lot of interesting features to them, and one of the one I noticed on the boat that we're focused on right now is the windshield. Is there something different about that?
Yes, we call it the bubble windshield. Very few boats have it. It was made by ITO, which is, again, is the best manufacturer for toy boats. And you don't see it that often on boats. Sometimes people buy an old boat just to get the windshield because they're plastic and they do break. But this is another restoration by John Guest, and back to the original colors. It's got an unusual deck design with the oval in the front and the raised back being green. It's 15.5 inches long, and inside underneath it has the ITO original engine, which has the green top plastic, and then it has the rudder with the ITO on it, and it's got a little bit of the sponsons on the side.
Okay.
But it's an unusual design. Most of the runabouts or runners don't look like this deck on the deck.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yep.
All right. Well, yeah. And this one's got an interesting windshield on it as well, doesn't it?
That's the best part on this one too. Is this windshield? It's brass, and it's a square rectangular windshield.
Yeah.
And that's the classic design. And you'll notice a lot of railings, and they're all the brass, not the silver.
Yes.
The only silver on the boat are the horns in the front and the decorative ornament on the front. This one is 15.5 inches, also a runner. Not sure of the manufacturer of it, but it does have a huge horseshoe engine in there. It's very unusual, again, to have so much brass on the boat, but John likes to restore and mix the colors on that. And one red light and one green light.
Yeah, it's interesting. The windshield really gives it a dating, too.
Yes.
To me, it connotes
It's
an older boat
the 40s,
than the ones
right.
with the bubbles.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
This one's got a lot of bright work on it.
This is my newest boat from John. We went back and forth over the color of the hull, the deck. He stained it one of my favorite colors. It was a golden oak stain. He mixed the brass railings in with the silver scoops and horn and lights. It's a K&O, came as a kit, Speedster, and they're very popular. People would build them themselves. John had it built many years ago, but just took it all apart and rebuilt the whole thing, and also has a brand new horseshoe engine in it. And when he does the engine, he also redoes all the wiring. When boats from both John and Jim leave their place, they have to work. I will never put these in the water, but they want to make sure when they're done with them, they work and run, and everybody's happy with them.
Someone can play with them, right?
Yes.
This is a little cruiser.
Yep, cabin cruiser. It's 18 inches, so it's actually a big one. And this is made by the company called Rico. And this, too, was done by John and restored to the original colors.
Okay.
It does have non-working lights of red and green on the top, has the Buick ornament on it, but an unusual paint color, but he matched the deck, the rear deck, and the hull bottom the same. But that is the original color. It has two on and off switches. They're pull switches, one for the lights and one for the motor.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And this had a horseshoe in it as well?
I believe it has a horseshoe in it as well.
So that was the proper configuration. It looks just like a horseshoe. People imagine a horseshoe. That's what the motor looks like.
Yep.
Yeah. Now, there's no mistaking that this is a dragon boat.
Yes. This has the most ornamentation that we have on any of the dragon boats. And actually, all that John did on this one was to clean it up for me and repair a few pieces. He found it in an antique shop in Hardy, Arkansas, and he called me and he got me a special price on it. And it's a very unusual color, very unusual ornamentation on the side. It's called a dog dragon boat.
A dog dragon boat.
I have never seen one before in pictures, and I had to have it. So he bought it, took it home, cleaned it up, and shipped it to me. Did nothing on the paint other than cleaning it up. So no restorative efforts at all.
Yeah.
And two very unusual life rings on it.
Yeah, it actually said speedboat on top of
Speedboat,
the...
yes. And sometimes they're reading so that it says boat speed. You never know which is exactly right. So, but it was a great deal for me, for my collection.
Yeah, what a rare find. Now, this has got a different color combination than you see on some of the other boats, with the pink and the red.
Yes, this is John Guest special. He matched it pretty close to the colors of the original one, but he added a little flair. You can see he had to make the mast on the front light.
Oh, yeah.
And this is 17.5 inches. It is also an ITO boat. It's called the Miss Sakura.
Miss Sakura.
And the Miss Sakura sometimes is written on the side for the name of the boat, but this one doesn't have it. There are quite a few variations in colors, but this was a full restoration. This is recent too. I've had this probably about 6 months.
Okay.
But whenever he does anything, he spares no time and effort to make it as close to the original as possible. And again, the parts are just so shiny. He and Jim just do a fabulous job bringing back the parts.
Yes, yes. the collectibles all have different hull shapes, and this one's interesting because it's kind of a rounded bilge. What's the background on this one, Fred?
Well, this was a kit that was made for me by my friend Mark Tabara out in Minnesota, and it's very special because he made it for me back in 2005, and we did launch it on the webcam at the business I had, and it's the only boat that I've ever owned, a model boat, that I put in the water, and we watched it run, and he was very happy with his workmanship. So it was a great special boat.
That's interesting, yeah. How about this? Is this part of a popular manufacturer?
Yeah, this is made by Fleet Line. It's more of a Bakelite made boat with a wooden top. It didn't look like anything like this when it was made. It's called the Sea Babe. Mark Tabar also added the fins on this and the paint design. And I have not put this one in the water. He just put the fins on for me to give it that classy look.
Here's another one similar to the one we just looked at, right?
Yes, this is also a Fleet Line. It used to be a Dolphin, and the Dolphin came without fins, and it had a wood deck. Mark painted it bright red, and then we have it matched up with a Landcraft engine on the back, a Mercury, which is probably the special part of the whole boat, along with the fins, but no ornamentation other than the windshield and the deck plate. And it's just, again, for Fred, it's a fin boat that Mark made.
Yeah, it's neat.
Hey.
Well, one of the interesting things about collectible model boats, I think, is the different hull shapes and configurations and different ornaments they have on them. This one's kind of different.
It was a kit boat. It was made by Mark Tabara out in Minnesota back in 2005 just for me, and painted my colors of my business, and it has the name of the business on the boat. And we launched it on the internet back in 2005, and it's the only boat I've ever had, a model boat, that I put in the water. None of the others have made it into the water.
So you tracked it on your webcam on your internet?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he was very happy watching it in Minnesota when I was in Weirs Beach.
I bet he was. Take a look at this one. This is from one of the more popular manufacturers, right?
Yes, this is made by a company called Fleet Line, but the original did not look like this at all. It was it's a Bakelite hull boat rather than it's a form of plastic. It's a heavy plastic, but Mark added the fins on the back just for me, and he picked the paint color too. It's 12.5 inches, and this one has not seen the water. It's just for the looks.
All right. And this boat is kind of a cousin to that, right? Or perhaps in the same family, if you will.
Same family, a Fleet Line. It started out as a Dolphin, which had a light mahogany colored deck. And he added the fins on that for me and painted a nice shade of red.
Yes.
And the special part in the back, it has a Landcraft Mercury outboard engine that does work. And it kind of completes the design of the boat.
Yeah, that's a beauty. You know, Fred, it's been an interesting time we've had to spend today covering the different collectibles. They come, of course, these restorers are such a big part of the industry, part of the hobby. Can really take the old boats and make them look new again.
And I can't do that, so.
Can't do that, right. So it's a special skill.
Yeah.
Well, we've got to wrap up the show today. Is there anything you'd like to add before we close out?
No, I'm just glad we're sharing this with other people out there who can see that there is a lot of potential in old boats that look pretty ratty, and they can get them restored by themselves or find somebody.
And they look great.
Thank you. They will be happy to know.
Well, thank you for joining me.
Great, Paul. Thank you for being here.
And thank you, Smart Boating viewers, for joining us. If you have any comments or questions, visit us at www.smartboatingus.com. Thank you.